Hi my friends ወደ ቻናሌ እንኳን በደህና መጣችሁ። ወደ ተኪዳን ነኝ። ዛሬ ማወራላችሁ ስለ shadow self ስለሚባለው thing ነው. It's actually a real thing. So ዲክሽነሪ ላይ ዲፋይን የሚደረገው ምንድነው? ወደ unconscious ፓርታችን ፑሽ ያደረግነው ወይም ደግሞ press down ያደረግነው aspect of our personality ወይም ደግሞ aspect of our self ነው. These are the shadow, what we call the shadow self, is a suppressed aspect of us that's deeply in our unconscious, but it gets to be expressed in unconscious ways. It gets to expressed in a way that we're not aware of. Like እኛ ሳናውቀው በተለያየ መንገድ ሊወጣ ይችላል, or it may remain suppressed for a while, and when something happens that activates it, it's again will be known to us or will start to play out in our lives. So shadow self ምንለውን እንግዲህ መጀመሪያ ላይ ያስተዋወቀው ካርል ያንግ የሚባለው ሳይኮሎጂስት ነው። ሆኖም ግን ከዛ በፊት በጣም ለረጅም ጊዜም የታወቀ ነገር ነበረ። while like in shaman's culture በጣም ስለ shadow self በጣም ዲፕ እውቀት ያላቸው ancient የሆኑ civilizations ancient የሆኑ ትራይቦች እንደነበሩ በጣም ብዙ ነገር ይነገራል ማለት ነው። So the shadow self is an aspect of me that I suppressed, that I pressed down into my unconscious, that gets to be expressed or play out in my life unnoticeably ማለት ነው። ወይም ደግሞ በቃ ጭራሹንም ማላውቀው ላይክ የሆነ ነገር እኔ ህይወት ላይ happen እስከሚያደርግ ድረስ ከሚፈጠርና ወደ ላይት እስኪመጣ ድረስ ያላየሁት ነገር ድብቅ የሆነ ሂድን የሆነ ነገር ማለት ነው። ሶ ዛሬ በጣም ለዚህ ነገር ያነሳሳይ ነገር I am in the process of shadow work myself. I told you guys I'm a twin flame, so it's like in a twin flame journey, the shadow work is a very crucial thing, and it's like it's a big thing, like it's not only big, but it's inevitable. When you are a twin flame, you get to do shadow work in order to manifest a physical union. So shadow work በጣም ብዙ የሚይዛቸው ነገሮች ውስጥ አለ። ላይክ በአርክታይፕ ነው የሚባሉት እና እነዚህ አርክታይፕ የሚባሉት ነገሮች እንደ ሳብ ፐርሰናሊቲ ሆነው ነው የሚመጡት፣ ስም መስጠት ማለት ነው። አሁን ሻዶው የምንለው ነገር ኢትስ አ ቢግ ኮንሰፕት or idea, and then እንከፋፍለዋለን። አሁን የኔ shadow self በጣም ብዙ የሆነ ካታጎሪዎችና ሳብ ፐርሰናሊቲዎችና አርክታይፖች አሉና ካርል ያንግ የሚጠራቸው እንደ አርክታይፕ ነው። በጣም ብዙ ሳይኮሎጂዎች ደግሞ ይሄን shadow aspect of ourselves የሚባለውን ነገር የሚያገናኙት በልጅነታችን ከተፈጠሩ ነገሮች ጋር ነው, like childhood trauma and the inner child. But from what I have experienced, I would say the inner child is just one part of the shadow self. But like there are so many layers to it. Like በጣም ብዙ ከፓስት ላይፋችን ጋር የሚገናኝ ከአሁን በፊት ምናልባት እርዝ ላይ 20 ላይፍ ታይሞች ኖረን ከሆነ በ20ም ላይፍ ታይሞች ውስጥ የነበርነው ሰው ያደረግናቸው ነገሮች ኤክስፔሪየንስ ያደረግነው ነገር በጣም እነሱ ነገሮች በሙሉ በአጠቃላይ በዱዋሊቲ በሁለት ዓለም ውስጥ ገብተን ኤክስፕረስ እንደረግ both the yin and yang የሚባሉት ኢነርጂዎች ሁለቱንም ነገሮች በውስጣችን መያዝም ስላለብን ያለነሱም ደግሞ ኤግዚስት ማድረግ ስለማንችል እነዚህ ነገሮች ናቸው እንግዲህ ላይክ እኔ በቃ ፍጹም ነኝ እና ደግሞ መልካምነትን ብቻ ነው ውስጤ ላይ ያለው የብርሃኑን ዓለም ብቻ ነው የምወክለው ብዬ ልል አልችልም። ምክንያቱም the dark sideም ላይ ኢንቮልቭ ማድረግ አለብኝ in order to exist in this dualistic nature ባለው ዓለም ላይ ኤግዚስት ለማድረግ የግድ ሁለቱንም ነገር I should embody both the dark and the light, but eventually it's possible, and salvation is possible, and we all will come to the light. We are going to choose the light eventually at some point when we evolve and when we actually understand how limiting or unproductive the shadow self is. But still the shadow self is there. It's just we are now learning how to express it we're going to make it healthy. We're going to make it healthy and productive, not limiting, okay, by processing, by doing the shadow work. እንጂ ከዛ ነገር ፍጹም እንላቀቃለን ወይም ፍጹም ነፃን ማለት አይደለም። ምክንያቱም ያው እኔ ውስጥ መልካምነትን ወይም ደግሞ ብርሃንን ወይም ደግሞ አምላካዊነትን ዲቪኒቲን የመረጠው ማንነቴ ቢኖርም በሌላው ሰው ውስጥ ደግሞ the dark side ወይም the shadow self እስከተገለጸ ድረስና ይሄ ላይፍ ላይ ደግሞ ሁላችንም ኮኔክትድ እስከሆንን ድረስ ራሴን ብቻ ነጥዬ I am free of the shadow aspect or the dark aspect ልል አልችልም ግን I can actually find a healthy way of expressing my those sub personalities and actually in fact releasing some of the personalities, the sub personalities that I no longer need for my highest good or that aren't anymore needed for my evolution. Okay, like release ይደረጋሉ አንዳንዶቹን ደግሞ ኢንተግሬት ነው የምናደርጋቸው ሶ እነዚህ ሳብ ፐርሰናሊቲስ ካወቀን በኋላ ተመልሰው መሄድ ያለባቸው ወደ ዩኒቨርስ መለቀቅ ያለባቸው ወደ ላይት ለመቀየር ያው ወደ መላክ ያለባቸው እንልካለን ከዛ ደግሞ እኛ ውስጥ ደግሞ ኢንተግሬት መደረግ ያለባቸው ደግሞ ፖዚቲቭ አስፔክቶች ወይ ፕሮዳክቲቭ የሆኑትን ነገሮች ደግሞ ወደኛ ኢንተግሬት እናደርጋለን ስለዚህ ሻዶ ሰልፍ የሚባለው ነገር ፖዚቲቭም ነው ኔጌቲቭም ነገሮች አሉት like some people resist the positive aspect of the shadow self some people resist the negative aspect of the shadow self but both are the same one can't survive without the other so you need both I mean I need the shadow aspect like my abandonment issues are needed to learn how to be genuinely loving, how to love genuinely, how to relate in a very healthy way. My abandonment issue is needed to take me to the other side of things. So to the other side of to the next possibility. ስለዚህ ሻዶ ሰልፋችን የሚያስፈልግበት ምክንያት ወደፊት የምንመርጣቸውን ምርጫዎች ለመምረጥ እንድንችል የግድ በሱ ሪፍሌክት መደረግ ስላለበት ነው ማለት ነው. If you know what I mean. I think it's not supposed to be complicated. So today I wake up and I felt like I saw a dream. በጣም በህልም ዓለም በጣም ብዙ መልእክቶችን እቀበላለሁ ጋይድ እደረጋለሁ I see dreams almost every day every night so that's how I get to heal with my dreams I work with my dreams closely ስለዚህ ዛሬ እንደተነሳሁኝ abandonment issue ጋር የተያያዘ ነገር ነበረ መጀመሪያ የተሰማኝ I have always had an abandonment issue not feeling enough feeling unworthy okay due to my childhood circumstances those things were always in the back of my head so my abandonment issue I started processing it that's what took me to the whole idea of shadow work and then I started listing down my sub personalities or my archetypes and I ended up listing down all of the possible archetypes of the collective የሁላችንም ማለት ነው that I was able to intuitively I managed to get them out of me so zare discuss ማድረግላችሁ is like as always I wrote them down in my notebook ያንዱን ሻዶው ሰልፍ አርክታይፕስ ከምን ጋር እንደሚገናኙ እንግዲህ ላይክ እናንተም ሪሌት ለማድረግ እንድትችሉ ማለት ነው ከጻፍኳቸው ነገሮች ውስጥ ከምን ጋር እንደሚገናኙ ምን ማለት እንደሆኑ እና ደግሞ በምን አይነት መንገድም ከነዚህ ሻዶው ሰልፍ እናንተ ሊሚት ካረጋችሁ ነገር ኮንትራዲክሽን እየፈጠረ ካለው ነገር መላቀቅ እንደምትችሉ አንዳንድ ኢንሳይቶች ሰጣችኋለሁ ማለት ነው so የሻዶ ሰልፍ ዋናው መገለጫው ምንድነው ሁለት ነገሮች ውስጣችሁ ላይ ሲሆን ነው አሁን ዋነስ ማለት there is only one voice speaking there is only one existence going on that's what being in the flow means so when I say I want something there isn't any other voice that's contradicting that want okay when I say I want to go out tonight there is no any other voice that's saying I want to stay home እንደዛ ከሆነ በጣም አሪፍ ነው oneness ምናም በቃ enlightenment feeling light and stuff ካልሆነ ግን እና ከሁለቱም ድምጾች ደግሞ ሁለቱም ሶስትም ሊሆን ይችላሉ the voices can be infinite literally that's when we say I have anxiety I have depression when the voices are really too loud and too many okay but like let's say for now there are only two voices that are contradicting to each other ስለዚህ የምንፈልገውን ነገር ለማወቅም እንቸገራለን ማለት ነው so ትልቁ እና በጣም የሚረዳው ነገር ከሻዶ ወርክ ጋር ተያይዞ sending love to those parts of you having a conversation with those parts of you አሁን በጣም ብዙ ሰዎች ስሜታቸውን ስለማያዳምጡ አሁን ዛሬ ጠዋት ስነቃ abandonment issue የመጣው ከትዊን ፍሌም ጋር ተያይዞ ነው of course ግን like እሱን ነገር ራሴ ስላዳመጥኩኝ ያገኘው ታዲያ የሆነ ነገር ይዞኛል what is it why am I not feeling whole why am I not feeling light? Where is this dense energy coming from? ስለዚህ I sat down in a sort of meditation, not a superficial cross-legged meditation, but like I tuned in inside of me. ከዛ በኋላ like I thought it would be my inner child in the first place due to my dream ማለት ነው። ከዛ በኋላ inner child like what is the need now? ምንድን ነው የምትፈልጊው? ምንድነው ውስጤ ላይ የተሰማኝ ያለው? ለምንድነው አባንድመንት ኢሹ እንደገና የተቀሰቀሰው? ከምን ጋር ነው የሚገናኘው እያልኩኝ ማለት ስጀምር the inner child starts talking like what do you want now? What do you want now? And she said like I want love. She said I want reassurance. I want to be reassured. I want to know that you're there for me, that I'm not going to be abandoned anymore. Okay? ስለዚህ ከዛ እነዚህ ነገሮች ካረኩኝ በኋላ ደግሞ ሰውነቴ ጋር የቱ ጋር ነው ያለው? Where is it in my body? Okay? So my abandonment issue, I felt it right here on my solar plexus chakra, okay? On my masculine related kind of energy. So that area, I sent light from my heart space to that area, and I sent it love, and I reassured my inner child that she's not going to be abandoned. In fact, she's never been abandoned. Source creator has always been with her, and of course there might be a chance that someone that she loves and friends or in any situation that she could be abandoned, but that doesn't mean it will be painful as before. So now, even if you are going to be abandoned, I'm here for you. I am conscious. We can defend ourselves. We can protect ourselves. But I'm ብዙ ጊዜ ከሻዶ ሰልፍ ጋር ተገናኝቶ ማለት ነው the agenda they have, every shadow, negative shadow aspect of you, the agenda it has is it wants to protect you. It has to do with survival. Most of the shadow aspect of those negative, limiting, unproductive shadow self, it's like protective. It's wanting to protect you. It's wanting to keep your safety. It has to do with survival and not thriving. Okay, now when we want to thrive, when we want to make a difference, when we want to manifest, when we want to be like, you know, on our mission, that's when we know that we're being limited by these little inner voices, but has been around for who knows centuries. Yeah, so ስለዚህ እነዚህን ኒዶች ያላቸውን ፍላጎት እነዚህ ሻዶ አስፔክቶች ሊነግሯችሁ የሚፈልጉትን ነገሮች ከተረዳችሁ በኋላ እነሱን የሚተኩ አፍርሜሽኖችን ማድረግ, saying affirmations that will potentially replace this negative self-talk. Okay, so undermining disempowering beliefs, and then sending light and soothing yourself, so over and over and over again until it vanishes. So ዛሬ ያደረኩት ነው abandonment እና not enough ጋር ተያይዞ በጣም worthy እንደሆንኩኝ አሁን the conscious aspect of me, the adult self, the 30 years old me, she knows a lot of good. She knows herself. She knows things. She believes in herself. She's very energized and empowered and loving and more. Okay, but like the inner child and the other shadow self that has to do with past life and everything, እነሱ like they sort of contradicted with the person that I am wanting to be, that I am actually being with the person that I created for myself. They kind of contradict. They kind of have different needs. They're like entities, honestly speaking. They're like entities that are wanting to be seen, to have a place in your life, not to die. It's like a feat of days. Now, the addict, for example, is one of my archetypes. Yeah, addictions, bro. You know what I'm talking about. If you're young, especially Ethiopian and in Addis, you know what I'm talking about. So like the addict archetype, it doesn't want to die. It fears death. So in order to stay in me, whenever I send light, it fights back. If it's not drinks, if it's not alcohol, it says coffee. If it's not coffee, it says something else. So like that's how they manage to control you in a sense. They work against you instead of for you. So I will mention some of the sub-personality or archetypes that I actually channeled for the collective. The first one is the warrior. The warrior archetype is very brave, but I'm brave now. It stands for truth. It stands for justice. So like, but I'm so versatile. Why? In order to be a warrior, even if it means that you're standing alone, you have to be on your own. Just you let go of seeking approval. You let go of the being conformist. wanting to confirm, because a warrior is someone that actually see beyond the veil, beyond what most people can see. You have to be really different, and you have to embrace your uniqueness to be the warrior. So the warrior archetype, I've been resisting it all my life. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to know it, but now I embrace it. I'm a warrior of love. I know that I love it. So the other one is the artist. The artist archetype, it can be like አሁን ለምሳሌ ቤተክርስቲያን ሰው ሆኖ አንድ ሰው ቤተክርስቲያን ውስጥ እየኖረ አርቲስት ቢሆን አርትን እንደ ኃጢአት ነገር ሊያዩ ይችላል። like how can I sing, how can I paint, I'm supposed to be the church person, I'm supposed to be just a holy being. So you see that artist is now shut down completely in his unconscious. መቼም ሊያገኘውም ይችላል ላይፉ ላይ ችግር እየፈጠረ እስካልሆነ ድረስም ማይንድ ሊያደርገው ይችላል። so that the queen, the king, or the royalty is one of the sub personality. Now I will just start continue on reading. ማብራራት የምፈልግባቸው ላይ ብቻ አብራራላችኋለሁ። ከዛ በተረፈ አነባቸውና and then what you're going to do is you're gonna catch the list. Within the list, if you find yourself, you're gonna catch one of those and then you write them down. You wanna catch the next and then you write them down. ከዛ በኋላ የራሳችሁን shadow work እንድትሰሩበት ነው። ይሄንን ነገር ያስፈልጋችኋል ብዬ ነው ኦፈር እያደረኩኝ ያለሁት። I love you so much unconditionally. I want us all to heal genuinely, that I want for all of humanity. I want us to heal. As a healer, I feel responsible to do this for you. So I will just keep reading and I will elaborate on those, the ones that I want to elaborate on. The addict, the warrior, the prostitute, the witch, the priest, the artist, the mother, the queen or the king or the royalty is the same. The lover, the mother and the father, the lover, the Black Panther, the inner child, the teacher, the healer, the leader, the alpha, the killer, the manipulator, the cheater, the violent, the avoidant, the forgiving, the anxious, the brave, the fearful, the spiritual, the liar, the honest, the codependent, the narcissist, the victim, the people pleaser, the transparent, the conformist, the prideful, the overly independent, the pretentious, the compassionate, the playful, the perfectionist, the dominant, the submissive, the optimist, the pessimist, the trustworthy, the creative, the ambivient, the extrovert, the intelligent, the wife or the husband, the ancient, the caring, the helper, the advisor, the sabotager, the empowered, the disempowered, the desperate, the gamer, the mysterious, the lusty, the judgmental, the understanding, the prophet, the competitive, the compulsive, the stubborn, the punisher, the suspicious, the indecisive, the impatient, the disassociator, the poor or lack mindset, the obsessive, the dissatisfied, the resistant, the attached, and the ignorant, and the jealous, and the hero. So ከነዚህ ውስጥ እናንተ ሪዞኔት የምታደርጉት ካለ ፕሮሰስ እንድታደርጉት ነው ማለት ነው። ሶ ከነዚህ አርክታይፖች ውስጥ ከኔ ማንነት ጋር የተገናኙትንና like just somehow interesting ናቸው ብዬ ያሰብኳቸውን ዲስከስ አደርጋለሁ። So regarding the priest, I remember in the past life that I was a nun or a spiritual teacher. Sort of, I lived in a monastery or a temple back in India in one of my lifetimes. So it's really beautiful. When you are a priest, it means that you are spiritual and you are holy, right? Like you want to contribute to the expansion of the consciousness. ስለዚህ maybe እናንተም ካሳልፋችኋቸው ላይፍ ታይሞች ውስጥ አሁን ስፒሪቹዋል እንድትሆኑ ያደረጋችሁ ስፒሪቹዋል ሆናችሁ የቆያችሁበት ምክንያትም ሊኖራችሁ ይችላል እላችሁ ፈልጌ ነው ይሄንን ነገር ማውራት የፈለኩት። The Black Panther, I mean, by the way, this I listed down as a sub-personality or shadow self archetypes. They may be personal to you, one, and two, they may be even like feelings, they're not necessarily personality in the category of personality, or they are not necessarily related to personality, but trust me on that, each and every one of those things that I listed down, they are related to your personality, not by definition, but I'm sure practically they do. So the Black Panther, like I've been black in so many of my lifetimes. I've been black. I've fought for black liberation. And I forgot, of course, in this lifetime, I wasn't in any way attracted to this even agendas or topics until I started finding myself, my way back. I started working with my North Node, my mission in this lifetime, my right path. That's when I knew that I have always been Black. I have always been, um, fought for liberation and freedom and justice. I'm really justice sensitive, honestly. Like I see injustice everywhere. It gives me pain, and I'm sure that I'm gonna change it. I'm not gonna change it by myself only alone, but I'm sure I will do whatever it takes to contribute to changing it, to have positive effects on the process. So, on the spectrum of narcissists and codependent, I was more of a codependent than the narcissist. We can say 80 to 20%. But now I gotta be honest, I gotta be vulnerable with you guys. I have had narcissistic traits myself. For example, anger management issues is directly linked to narcissistic traits. If you are angry and if you feel entitled to be violent, it's related to being the narcissist. Okay, so it's not only anger that I had, honestly. I had rage. It's even deeper, and I've never actually, I have shown it in some situations when I was drunk or something back when I used to drink, but the only time that I actually consciously processed it is actually 3 days ago while I was cooking in the kitchen. I was listening to this guy. He was teaching about anger management and stuff like that. So rage actually, all the story aside, you leave out the stories like my mother did to me, the society, blah blah blah, and then all the story aside, if you see it for what it is, actually it's pretty manageable. And actually, when you actually see it for what it is and send light and understanding, offer love and understanding to it, it's actually very easy to manage. It's actually very easy to process and even to heal. So as for the killer, I remember just a few days ago that I killed a few people in the past life. I don't know. I'm not sure about the number, actually. I'm just hoping it would be a few people, that it could be more. So I've been in a war. I fought in a war in a war that was fought in Africa, actually. So I have a killer archetype for sure. So the day I found out, I can't be a killer. No way. Come on. I'm the holy person. I'm a healer. I am this woman. Right now I'm transforming. How can I be a killer? No, I resisted it. But now I understand why that can be the case. I am not free of what's your thing can be my thing. It's not being spiritual doesn't mean you are full of light. It doesn't mean just you have never been through some chaotic shit, or you have never done fucked up things. Being spiritual means you just learned from those things. Now it's a choice. You're choosing this. So as for the conformists, the people who actually want to impress others or seek validation from others and stuff like that, I call them the conformists. So of course I've been a conformist in some sense, because I have identified myself as a people pleaser to some extent since childhood up to my spiritual awakening. So the conformist, if you are the conformist, just admit that you are the conformist, and then try to find what makes you unique, what makes you you, and just start being that. Okay, so as for the avoidant and the anxious, these are attachment styles. Especially they exhibit themselves in relationships, especially in romantic relationships. So I am anxious. My style is anxious attachment, fearful anxious attachment. So some other people could be avoidant, fearful avoidant, or ሌሎችም አሉ ከአታችመንት ጋር ተያይዞ ሊስት የተደረጉ ነገሮች, right? So anxiously attached የምናደርገው ምንድነው? It's a fear. It has to do with fear. It has to do with being fearful, self-doubt, abandonment issue, and not enough. It makes you be anxiously attached to the other person. And maybe አንዳንድ ሰዎች ደግሞ they can be avoidant, like they would rather avoid you all along than to deal with you, to just give you their hearts, and then they are scared if you hurt them and they will never recover or something like that. It still needs reassurance. It still has to do with inner child. It's really manageable. It's like it can be healed. And yeah, so as for the attachment styles, I don't know where you are. For me, it's an anxiously fearful anxious attachment style. So how I healed it is that knowing that I can exist interdependently with someone, and I can be securely attached with my twin flame, for example, because he is who I want to be with. He is the one person that I choose to walk this path with. So now I reassured myself that I can actually be securely attached to my twin flame. I'm working my way out of dependency. Like I told you that I was codependent. Codependent means that you are dependent on other people for your emotional well-being or physical well-being or whatever that. So as for the healer, of course, I've been meeting so many healers in Addis. It's like, where have you been all my life? Honestly speaking, I have had an event that I went to like a few days ago, and it was full of healers. Some don't know, some do. So like, it's like the healer archetype is really common, honestly, whether you know it or not. The other thing is the alpha archetype. The alpha archetype, it loves standing out. It seems on the outside that it has a narcissistic trait, but the only thing that it's one thing is to express itself, and it loves standing out. The alpha, I'm an alpha. I love standing out, but it's in any way not at the expense of other people. It's in any way not because I'm insecure and I'm trying to be seen, but like, it's just I enjoy the idea of standing out, and I always stand out. Actually, I manage to stand out. I don't know how I do it. It's just natural for me. The other one is the victim. The victim archetype, also another common archetype that I see is the victim. Many people think that they're slaves of what happened to them. They are victims of their pasts. And right now, how I see my past is just a bunch of lessons and blessings that I actually collected all of the data that I want for this time, and I see this time as the only important thing, the present moment, because it's like the data I collected from my past and the future that I'm building is only possible when I see it from this place, this present moment. So the victim is a very common archetype. What else? The manipulator, I see it in people who do businesses. Salesperson, I used to be a salesperson and marketing manager. At some point I was at mid 20s. I've done it. I've tried to manipulate others in order for a personal gain. Yeah, it's like taking advantage of others. So it's one of the archetypes that I see collectively. The forgiving archetype that I want to see having, like, ሁሉም ሰው ኑሮት ማየት የምፈልገው ነገር ነው. Guys, forgiving is so beautiful. Every wrongs are meant to be forgiven, especially if you really genuinely love that person. Like, I have forgiven myself because I love me. I have forgiven my family because I love them. I have forgiven my friends because they didn't know better. Like, forgiving doesn't mean like wanting to take them back. It could mean that at times, but like not always. So just forgive and liberate yourself. What else? Self-sabotage is very common. Disempowering belief is very common. Lust and addiction is very common in this. It's very common. Like, people are in their bodies. They're saying, they're like serving their bodies all the time instead of like aligning their energies in a way that they can be served. They can serve their soul collectively, body, mind, and spirit. Yeah. So yeah, the disassociation, it's just like, it just popped up my head. I didn't know even what it was, because I just didn't know what it was, but I have always been doing it. As an empath, when the pain is very heavy, we learn to disassociate ourselves from what was happening to us. So like disassociation, just check with you. The king, queen, and royalty archetype, honestly speaking, I believe that we all are kings and queens. We all are royalities. We all are royalities. God created us to just be the rulers of this place. Trust me on that. Yeah, I have in my family lineage we are royalities. Like ማንም ማያውቅም እኔም የራሴን በጣም ብዙ ነገሮች አጣርቼ የደረስኩበት. So maybe in your lineage you have that too, but even if it's not in your lineage, you are a king and you're a queen. I love you. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this episode. I think I nailed it. I'm feeling so good. I'll see you in the next video. Much love. Bye. Mwah.